What is the potential end game here when it comes to Russian sanctions? If you were advising the Biden administration when it comes to sanctions, what would be triggers, if any at all, for lifting them?
Well, there are a couple. First, there has to be a ceasefire and a real negotiating process. Those, I think, would be the first indications that perhaps we should think about easing sanctions. But it goes beyond that. I don't think that the administration is going to ease sanctions until there is some sort of negotiated solution to this problem. And that negotiated solution has to include some Russian commitment to repair Ukraine, to compensate for all the damage that it's done over the past several weeks and will continue to do in the future as long as this conflict grinds on.
Are we in the game here of regime change, Tom, or is that not something that is a stated goal of our policy, or is it an unstated goal?
No, that's not a stated goal of our policy at this point. Certainly, we are trying to make this conflict as complicated as possible, as costly as possible for Russian President Putin. What we would like to see is the Russian people and the Russian elites to draw the proper conclusion about the leadership that Putin has provided over the past several months and come to their own conclusion that perhaps it's time for someone else to be at the head of the Russian state.
Tom, given what you know about Russia from your time there and obviously studying it since then, what kind of effectiveness of sanctions do we have? It strikes me that we might have the oligarch game backwards, that it's Putin that gives power to the oligarchs, not the oligarchs who keep Putin in power. And the other part about the idea that, I mean, does Putin care how much pain the Russian people ever feel?
Well, let's start with the oligarchs. I mean, it's clear that Putin relies to some extent on the oligarchs as a class, but each individual oligarch depends on Putin for his own livelihood. And I think that's the key point. So the sanctions tend to make these oligarchs each individually more dependent on Putin and less likely to move against him in any serious way. The pain for the Russian people, I think from Putin's standpoint, the Russians are a very resilient people, that they are prepared to sacrifice a tremendous amount for what he sees as the advance of their national interest. So I don't think that he's overly concerned about it at this point. What he is concerned about is that small middle class. These people have been protesting in Moscow, St. Petersburg, and the other large cities across Russia. This is, in a sense, Russia's future. This is the professional class, and he is slowly losing them as this conflict grinds on.